The following is a presentation of iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
Tonight at the Great American Speedway, it is the second race in the round of 6 for the chase for the USR Truck Series Championship. And as we continue our coverage of the BNC Lawn and Landscaping Truck Series, we want to say good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to LSR TV. Tonight in the booth, I'm Austin Coop. Joining me is Chris Murdoch, and Cisco Scaruza is bringing all of the action and the stream to you with all the great camera work as well. 6 drivers is what it is, and we are already one race into this third round. Scott Simley at the very top, and as a defending USR champion, I'd say, he's in a very good position to defend his title. He's only 3 points above Robert Gillenwater, and he's 4 in front of Aaron Bennett. It's getting to be down to crunch time here, Chris, and Texas is a make or break race for a lot of these guys. We have a lot of just only a few more races to go after this one. 3 races including tonight, and then Homestead to knock it all away.
Yeah, Coop, make or break it is. For drivers like Shane Hawthorne and Greg Mall, you really need a good finish here. You need a consistent finish inside the top 10 if you want any hopes of making it into the top 3. So we shall see who can take on this track and do well. Looking at the track, looking at practice here a little bit, Coop, I've seen a lot of drivers struggle in that turn too. So we're going to have to watch that turn as everybody tries to make it through this race here tonight.
Yeah, last week was Martinsville, where we saw Ashton Crowder completely dominate and get his 4th win of the season, and he won back-to-back after running in Kansas, which is definitely a huge momentum builder for him. He's come back from a long hiatus. He's not in the championship picture as he took too many weeks off to be a part of it, but definitely a force to be reckoned with. Looking at the full points here, Simley first, Gillenwater is in second, with Aaron Bennett third with -4 points. Michael Waters, he is 9 points out. Then you have Shane Hawthorne in 5th with -11. Then you have Greg Mall -14. And I'll tell you, with watching Greg Mall last week, he was in the top 5 for a good portion of the race and just got in the wrong place at the wrong time with a lap car and sent him to the rear end of the field. And I'm sure that number 12 driver is looking for a little bit of redemption here. Right now, though, Ashton Crowder, once again, he is at the top of qualifying currently. It's not over yet. We still have about 2.5 minutes before this one's going to get started. But Ashton Crowder, he's on a roll right now. We've been talking about championship spoilers in these races, and we've had a lot of them. From the beginning, we had Seth Foudy. He was the first driver to win in the championship at Chicagoland, and he was a championship driver at this point, knocked out now. Then we had Jamie Walker win 2 in a row. Then he got knocked out, actually. But now we have Simley, Priester, and Crowder winning the last in the second round, and then we have Crowder winning again. So 3 spoilers in a row, and this is getting to be where we're going to see a little bit more spoiler in action because there's less drivers fighting for that championship.
Yeah, and it's going to be a lot less give and take. It's going to be more take this time, Coop, because as you mentioned, we don't have very many races left. You can't afford to give a position here, give a position there, because if you give a position, then you can find yourself all the way back in 20th or 21st and having to fight your way back up, and you never want to do that being a championship contender. You want to get to the front and stay there, and that's exactly what these 6 drivers need to do. Just get up towards the front and stay there. Speaking of Greg Mall, you were talking about how strong he was last week. Well, looking at the practice times, Coop, he's proven he's strong here at Texas as well, sitting 4th in practice, and even though qualifying's still not over yet, he's sitting pretty decent in the qualifying running as it is right now. So I'm going to be looking for that driver sitting all the way back last in points of the championship. I'm going to be looking him to be making some big moves here tonight.
Yeah, definitely looking at him. Yeah, like you said, fourth in practice, eighth in qualifying currently, and of course, not over yet. But we have about a minute left in qualifying. But as we take this, we'll take a little bit of an opportunity to give a shout out to BNC Lawn and Landscaping Service, based in Frankfort, Delaware. Check out BNC for all your landscaping needs, including turf care, mulching, snow removal, and more. Professional licensed and insured. Contact Aaron Bennett at BC_lawn_and_landscaping at yahoo.com for more information. BNC has been the sponsor for the series this entire season, and they've really been helping out. They've actually had a couple premier races, so go and check them out. And then we'll definitely give some more information and give another shout out later on, probably. And I'd say qualifying's almost suited up. Ashton Crowder, he's going to appear to get the pole, and he does secure it. Qualifying over Ashton Crowder, he will get the pole, and these guys are set to grid. Ashton Crowder gets the pole with a 29.184. Right behind him, Alan Lewis. He will begin in the outside lane. In second place, Justin Michael, he will start in the third place. Michael Atkins Jr. will start fourth. And in the third row, Aaron Bennett, he will start in the fifth position.
Coming in the sixth position, the 17 of Jamie Walker. Robert Gillenwater is going to be seventh. Eighth's going to belong to that 12 machine of Greg Moe. Michael Waters is going to be ninth, and rounding out your top 10, Jason Jacoby.
Bobby Terrell, he'll start in the 11th position. Trevor Harmon starts in 12th. Dwayne Dunn, he will start in the 13th position. 14th starts Scott Simley. And Tommy Ryan, he will start in 15th.
Chris Cabot will start in that 16th position. Matt Mara, 17th. James Nunn is going to be 18th. 19 belongs to that 80 of Scott Formosa. And Kenneth Dale Osmond, he's going to round out your top 20.
Starting 21st is Shane Hawther, and right beside him, Randy Tesser. He'll be the first driver to not take a time to take a provisional. Skylar Grissom, he will start in the 23rd position, right next to Michael Priester, who starts on his outside. George Hendricks will start in that 25th position. Brian Cutts starts 26th. Ralph Vandervorst, he'll start 27th. Michael Warren will start in the 28th position. Michael Waite will start 29th, and Stephen Herring will start 29th. Track facts for tonight: we are here at the Texas Motor Speedway, 1.5 mile track, and the turns in 1 and 2 are about 20 degrees of banking, and in 3 and 4 about 24 degrees of banking here on this asphalt surface. And these guys are getting ready to go, still out there at the start finish line, but we're ready to roll.
Really are, and as the pace car is set to roll off now, Ashton Crowder, starting on the pole, he's been very dominant here, and a lot of people are looking to see if he can spoil it once again, because as you mentioned, he's spoiled a lot of these chase races. So we'll see what that driver can do, and just looking at a few other drivers. There's a lot of great talent here at Texas Motor Speedway, Coop, and I'm excited to get this race started.
3 drivers have had back-to-back wins in this series. Justin Michael, he won Michigan and the Glen for rounds 16 and 17. Jamie Walker won New Hampshire and Dover for rounds 22 and 23. And Ashton Crowder has won 26 and 27 for Kansas and Martinsville. It's round 28. And I think the biggest story outside of the championship is to see if the 27 can win 3 for 3. But you've got to watch those championship drivers, and you'll clearly see them on the ticker. They'll have yellow numbers, and you'll see their yellow numbers on their trucks tonight as we run for the championship. And there's a couple of them. The first starting driver, or the highest starting driver, is going to be that number 3 BNC Lawn and Landscaping Chevrolet of Aaron Bennett, and he's been extremely consistent this season, so definitely expect him to be a force to be reckoned with, as this is a good track for him, as we've seen in the past. Pace car is going to be down and away shortly, and we're about to get this thing underway. As Ashton Crowder, he will start this thing for a total of 167 laps, and we are green. American National green flag is in the air, and they go down to turns number 1 with Ashton Crowder with a humongous lead.
And Alan Lewis did not get the start he wanted to, Coop. He's going to drop a few positions here. Now he's got that 3 of Aaron Bennett on his inside. Definitely caught that 23 sleeping as they go side by side. Ashton Crowder has a reasonable gap on Justin Michael at this moment in time. And then you got Michael Atkins Jr. right behind him. But the side-by-side battle rages on between Aaron Bennett and Alan Lewis. Now Jamie Walker's going to be side by side, and Ashton Crowder takes that one.
A big block by the number 3, staying on the bottom. I guess I'd say it's more of a defensive move for that driver as he wanted to keep on the bottom. And you'll see that number 3 make sure that he keeps his car in front and keeps on rolling. He did get a spot on the start, but so did Jamie Walker, and Alan Lewis lost 4 positions on the start. Outside of row number 1 may not be the place you want to be, but where you want to be is that lead, and that number 27. He's doing a very good job. Looks like the battle is going to be for the 6th position. Looks like Alan Lewis, he's going to go under Robert Gillenwater for position in turns number 1 as they go side by side.
Yeah, Ashton Crowder still out to the lead. Now Michael Atkins Jr. going to be on the back bumper of Justin Michael going into turn 3. He's not quite there yet. Aaron Bennett is on a mission, though. He's already caught up to that 44 machine, and he's not going to stop there. Maybe going to try to look low as Justin Michael goes up high, leaves the door wide open for Michael Atkins Jr. to make the move down the front straightaway. Going into turn 1, they're going to be side by side. Who's going to get the advantage? It's always going to be that car on the bottom. Michael Atkins Jr. passes the 87 of Justin Michael with easily coming to 2, and Aaron Bennett is going to follow him right through, and maybe Jimmy Walker to do the same as you see him duck back down now. Aaron Bennett's on his way to the front.
Yeah, he's typically really good on the longer run, so if he's this good on an early run, it'll definitely be cool to see. He's got in store 87, or should I say the 44 of Michael Atkins Jr. past the 87 of Justin Michael, and almost looked like some arrow push that 87 up the track. That was really interesting to see off of turns number 4 as the 87 does get back in line. Of course, if you're not on the bottom and you got guys coming behind you, as you're seeing again, looks like the 87 is going to get passed again by the 12, or at least he's going to have a car under him, and he's going to lose a few more spots. We've seen this happen in a few other tracks this season with these trucks, that one driver will start to fall back just a little bit, and maybe it's by plan, but by the looks of it, looks like the 87 is trying to hold on to the bottom, and these guys just keep getting under him. Lots of drivers getting by the 87 right now as he's started in 30s and 5th right now. He is continuing to lose positions.
And just look at that drill spill machine, 27 of Ashton Crowder. We're only 6 laps in. Coop about to take lap 7 here, and Ashton Crowder has already pulled a 1.2 second gap over Michael Atkins Jr. So we were talking at the top of the broadcast if he would be able to do it again. Well, he's proven to be strong right now. Looking back throughout the field once again, Jamie Walker all over the back bumper of Aaron Bennett, trying to make a move, gets really close to that back bumper going through the middle of turns 1 and 2, and that's going to allow that 23 of Alan Lewis to catch back up. We saw him drop a few positions on the start. He's going to duck low to that 17 machine, I should say, and he's going to be there side by side going through 3 and 4. Alan Lewis going to be able to make that pass and clear himself coming out of 4, but it's going to leave the door open. G is going to block going down towards the front straightaway, kind of close that door on Jamie Walker as they head off into turn 1.
Yeah, that 23 car is really coming back to the field. He lost a lot of positions, and man, he is coming right up through the field, and a lot of positions are being made up by that number 23. I was unsure whether he was going to be able to do it, and he sure has proven the fact that he can come back up through this field and doing a really good job. Top 5 is as follows: Crowder, Atkins Jr., Bennett, Lewis, and Walker. Walker came up 1 position. Lewis did fall back, and he's coming back up through the field. And that top 5 has a big gap between themselves and Jason Jacoby. And then there's an even bigger gap to Justin Michael, who almost appears to be holding up the 12, and the 12 will go under him, and he'll look for position. That's championship driver right there in the 12. The new paint scheme on that machine, and definitely looking for that driver to make some big moves. That Miller High Life machine is trying to make everything go the right way, as it did not go last week.
Yeah, and he's off to a great start. He's inside the top 10, so doing a great job that driver is. Look at Justin Michael. Started all the way up in that 3rd position, and he's back all the way back in 8th now, Coop. So he's definitely off to a rough start, but maybe if he can get it going, he can get going on that longer run, and that's always what you want to see here at Texas and of those trucks. And as you mentioned earlier, Jason Jacoby, one little thing to note that of Jason Jacoby is that he left the drill spill team. We saw him running that drill spill logo on the back of his truck for many races. He's left drill spill, and now he's going to be challenging Jamie Walker for that 5th place position. He's on rails. He's made up some great time. Started 10th, now 6th, and he's looking to take that 5th position away.
Yeah, he's one of the bigger movers right now. It's hard to say who's got the biggest or the largest move right now, as there's a lot of drivers up and down throughout the field. He's only got 5 positions now as he does get around the 17, and he does appear to have a really good truck right now, as 12 laps are now, or 11 laps are now in the book on lap 12. But I gotta say, looking at the 87, he is losing a lot of spots, but this is a long race, as we've seen in races past. 167 laps, we're only on lap 12. There's a long way to go for these guys, and I'd say for some of these guys like the 87, this is only the beginning of the race, and maybe they're just taking it easy, seeing what they've got on a long run as we're on lap 12, coming to lap 13. I do want to mention that 23 just got around the 3, and he's back into 3rd position. So Alan Lewis, if he would have started and did not lose that many positions, I'm just wondering what he might have for these first couple of guys, Crowder and Atkins Jr., as he is making some really good lap times right now.
Yeah, and I'm looking to see for the longer run, because we've been green for 13 laps now, getting ready to take lap 14 here, Coop, and all these drivers have seemed to be pretty well on the short run, minus the 87 of Justin Michael, who's had a little bit of a rough start, but all these drivers have seemed to be doing really well, and Ashton Crowder out to a 1.4 second lead at the moment, and I'm wondering how tires are going to play into a factor here, because tires are all so important here at the Texas Motor Speedway, and they always come into factor in these late runs. So I'm going to be watching that 27, because he's pushing really hard, as Alan Lewis is now getting swarmed by the 3 of Aaron Bennett. Once again, Aaron Bennett's going to look low going through. Alan Lewis is not going to let him go this time through. He's going to block that low line just a bit. Aaron Bennett's not going to be there to make the move in 1. Alan Lewis is going to hold P3, but tires definitely a factor here right now.
Yeah, that was a 3-car battle there for a second. I think the number 1 of Jason Jacoby just had a issue right there. We'll get a story on what just happened, but look at the 3 of Aaron Bennett. Goes right back, gets that spot back. As they fight, Atkins Jr. gets some more breathing room. But at the same time, that has also brought in the 12 of Greg Mall behind these guys. And we talked about how he needed to get into the picture again. He's last of the 6 drivers. If you're anybody in this field who wants to get the best finish, it's that number 12. And you don't get a win and you're in this series. You've got to get in by points. And that number 68 machine of Scott Simley, he's not doing too hot right now. He's just outside the top 10. But even him being in the position he is, he's not going to be in the championship picture at this time. So we'll just have to see. And it does look like Jacoby is 2 laps down. So he must have had a issue with his connectivity to the server, and he has now gone multiple laps down. We'll keep an eye on, see what happens with that car. As it does appear that it has gone behind the wall just temporarily, and he might come back out later. No championship implications for the number 1 of Jason Jacoby, but that is the story for him. It does look like Alan Lewis is going to come down pit road this time. Don't know whether that's a planned stop. It does look like he's going to stop very short, and his night might be done.
And seems to be a car slow. He looks to be getting back up to speed now here, Coop. I think that's the 80 of Scott Formosa, who I think got in the wall hard coming off of turn 2, and that slowed that driver way down. Great reaction time by all these drivers, as now he's looking to get passed by Chris Cabot in that 5 machine through 3 and 4. Scott Formosa hit that wall pretty hard, but he's getting back up to speed, as now Ashton Crowder's lead is getting cut into by Michael Atkins Jr. I mentioned before.
We got a car around. Michael, wait. Front straightaway. He is on the outside. Walsall coming out of turns number 4. A couple drivers involved, but doesn't seem like there's going to be a total amount of loss for these drivers. Doesn't look a lot of damage. And we'll get the replay out coming here in just a second. Looked like just a 3-wide formation that went wrong, going back in just inside the top 20, and looks like a lot of rear end and left side damage for that number 48 machine.
Yeah, and it looks like the 29 of Trevor Harmon there, Coop, just got a little bit loose in 3 and 4, and coming out, just Michael Wake was trying to avoid him and just went a little bit too high up in the wall. He spun it around down the front straightaway, and he was slow coming by. Cautions out here for the first time, so that may play a good factor for Alan Lewis, who we saw just down pit road right before that caution came out. He might be the biggest one out of this entire caution that had a great call there.
Yeah, it looks like Alan Lewis has actually pulled it behind the wall, so whatever's going on with that machine, it's had to end the night early, at least at the moment. Gonna have to do some repairs or fix something that's going on maybe behind the scenes for that machine. But it looked like there was a little bit of contact between the 28 and 29 before all of that looseness happened in turns number 3. But as they roll, 27's going to roll these guys down pit road, and Crowder, Atkins, Jr., Bennett, Mall, and Michael will be the top 5 coming down. Is it going to be 4 or 2 tires? I'd say with 20 laps right now, now all these drivers are going to probably come down for 4 tires and fuel.
You always want to take 4, and Ashton Crowder, the strongest car, he's got the number 1 pit box for starting on the pole. He's going to jack that car up on the right and get that going down. Other drivers to note who are really strong at the end of that run, Michael Atkins Jr., he came in, he was knocking off a few minutes as Ashton Crowder is off pit road with no problem from the back, as there's a 3-wide battle. It looks like the 94 is going to beat that 44 off pit road. So Michael Atkins Jr. losing a few spots on pit road.
Yeah, slow pit stop for him. Maybe he got a little bit slow into the box or something like that. That's a lot amount of positions. It's 3 positions right there on the track that he's going to miss because it all happened on pit road. So looks like he will still stay on the inside. We know the outside it's a little bit slow in getting going, but that's still he had a lot of ground on these guys before the caution, so sometimes these can really play out to be one of those one-trick ponies for well, not one-trick ponies, one of those double-sided swords, I should say. Wrong analogy there. Double-sided sword. You come in, get fresh rubber, you feel better on the track, but at the same time you have the risk of losing position out there, and that's exactly what happened. Currently scored 6 right now, but I do believe Tommy Ryan was thrown in there, but looks like he scored fine at the moment. Top 5 is as follows: Crowder, Bennett, Mall, Terrell, and Atkins Jr.
Yeah, and Ashton Crowder was off to a great start on that first run, and I'm going to be looking for more of the same. He was able to pull out a big gap in all these other trucks going through until that caution came out, but now he's got a new person on his outside. It'll be the 3 of Aaron Bennett, the first restart of the night. And Aaron Bennett, always really good at these restarts and so strong on the start. We saw him gain a lot of positions on that start. He started 5th, he's up to 2nd, so with all that clean air now on the front of that truck, maybe he can go even faster and have something for that 27 of Ashton Crowder.
Yeah, Ashton Crowder had over a 1.5-second lead at one point for that 44, and so we'll see if Aaron Bennett can chase him down once these guys go green. Still behind the pace car, logging a few laps before the virtual debris from the front straightaway is taken care of. At this moment, of course, we'll like to take a moment to give our thanks to the coverage of the United Sim Racing Lawn and Landscaping Truck Series, brought to you by Joel Real Timing, the official timing software of LSRTV. Get it today at joel-real-timing.com, and those guys allow us to get the timing just right on the ticker. And in the sim, if you're a driver, it also helps you out as well. So, back action. Double file lines on the track behind the pace car. One more lap to go before we go green.
Yeah, and we were talking about a few drivers who needed a great race here, Coop, and trying to get everything going in the right direction. We'll look at that 12 of Greg Moss, started all the way back in the 8th place, so now up to 3rd, so he's just up there. He's doing exactly what he needs to do to have a great race here tonight as we get ready to go back green, so that 12 is really strong so far.
Yeah, you said it pre-race. If anyone's going to be really hungry to get a good finish is the 12. And now we've been talking about him a lot, but he's also got himself in the top 5. Only other championship driver that was in the top 5 is the 3, and he's got up a few positions and is now in second. iRacing official pace car is going to be off and away. Ashton Crowder will lead these guys for their first restart of the night. And he's going to get himself a good jump. Green flag in the air. He's going to get 2 car lengths in front of these guys. And looks like Greg Molly's going to shove the nose to the inside. And he may very well get second place over Aaron Bennett. He sure does. And gets another car length. And looks like the 87 of Justin Michael. He will continue to have the inside line as well. And that number 3 is a sitting duck on this restart.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be on the outside during these restarts, especially with Ashton Crowder being the control car, and he pulled out, but not for long. Greg Mall already on that back bumper, and Justin Michael lurking in the distance behind as Greg Mall opens up the corner wide to arc it down in, looking for that run off of turn 2. He's gonna get there now, but he's there. This is the closest we've seen anybody to Ashton Crowder on the starts for the entire race.
Oh, big wreck on the back straightaway. Big accident. Right off of turns number 2. Chris, you said it pre-race. Turn 2 was the problem child, and we're definitely seeing what's going on right now, and I have no clue. We're going to have to back it up quite a bit. Maybe it's going to be, I'd say maybe the 75 of James Nunn might be involved with this one, but it looks like someone got tagged in the middle of the corner, and it was on from there.
Yeah, and it looks to be your chase contender, Shane Hoffer. Just a lot of 4-wide action, it looked like, coming off of turn number 4, and Shane got clipped by Jamie Walker and directly down into Scott Formosa, and it sent that driver for a ride, flipping down the back straightaway, and that's definitely not what you want to see from Shane Hoffer, especially 11 points back in this chase. He's really gonna have to do well at Phoenix, I think it is, if they're going to have another shot at this race.
Yeah, that's going to be a hard one to swallow for the 11 crew. Big air for them. We've seen some big air lately on LSRTV, and not as quite as big as last night, but the 11 car is going to have maybe his hopes and dreams of beating a championship doused with that one. And I don't think that truck's going to be able to come back onto the speedway for another 30 minutes with the repairs that is going to be required. So pit stops are underway for these guys. Looks like we're going to see a few drivers not come in. Looks like a lot of drivers are going to, it looks like our second round of pit stops are coming in for a lap trucks. But yeah, huge deal for the 11 of Shane Hoffer here.
Yeah, it's always disappointing to see, to make it this far into the championship, you're 1 round away, and it just gets taken from you, just not out of your fault either. It always sucks when it's not your fault, and you just can't do anything, and you're along for the ride at that point. But everybody's been there, and it's just something you work through, and there's always next year, as people say. So Shane, don't give up. You still got Phoenix, so I'm not counting you out at all, but definitely heartbreaking for that 11 machine.
And they still got 2 races left too. Just like Jamie Walker said, even if you're not in the championship, you go out here and come every week and try and get some wins under your belt. And that's what the other 6 drivers are doing. And you may be able to throw the 11 in there under a blanket and say 7. Of course, it's not over till it's over. Next week it's Phoenix, and these guys out at the front of the points. And those race not over either. 2-3 drivers getting an accident, let's say, then the 11 has a shot at it, but it's not going to be an easy road for the 11. That's for darn sure. And there's a couple other drivers that he's got to get around in order to make it up here. But looks like we're still going to be under the pace car here for the next couple laps under yellow flag. And Ashton Crowder, Mall, Michael Bennett, and Terrell, that's your top 5. And look at Greg Mall, he's in second place. Aaron Bennett fell back to 4th and did not have a chance to get those positions back. But we've been talking about that second place starting position on these restarts here, Chris, and I'd say that I don't know what it's going on, or whether the driver on the outside twice has got a bad jump, but that driver in second place is the odd one out when it comes to these restarts.
I really just think it's hard for people to judge when the car goes, because when you're in that truck coupe and talking from experience, it's hard to hear because you've got the trucks behind you and also the truck beside you, so you hear people gassing up and trying to get the jump, and when that one car goes that you really want to listen to, it jumbled in with all the engine noise of all the other trucks. So maybe it's just early race jitters, which is always good to get out the bad starts at the beginning. Coupe, you never ever want to have a bad start at the end where it counts. So just everybody maybe trying to get used. Plus you got to think of the rubber buildup on the outside. There's not that much grip out there. People could be spinning their tires on the outside more than Ashton Crowder is on the inside. So Ashton Crowder definitely always has that advantage being that control car.
Yeah, it looks like we actually have an update on the number 1 truck of Jason Jacoby. Apparently, his power got lost out, and well, when that happens, you will be exited out of the track immediately. So, one truck of Jason Jacoby unlikely to come back into this race to compete. We don't have an answer on the number 23 of Alan Lewis, but we got one of those comment in the comment section saying that Jacoby had a little bit of an issue there, but we're about to go racing. They're double file once more, and Ashton Crowder is still in this lead. He's been so dominant the last couple of weeks, and I guess you could throw 3, 4, or the next 2, 3, 4 weeks in there since he's been back. He's been extremely strong. That hiatus has proven useful. I'm sure that 27 and the Drill Spill team have worked extensively on these 1.5 ovals and the short tracks, as they are really starting to pay off. iRacing pace cars about to get ready to go down pit road, and we will see what this restart has in store. Green flag is in the air, and Ashton Crowder gets a massive jump on place number 2, and Justin Michael is going to capitalize on it immediately. Almost an exact replica of these first 3 drivers since the last restart, but it looks like Greg Mall, he may be able to squeeze into the bottom. He does so. He's going to be able to keep 3rd position from these guys.
And if you're asking me, Coop, I think Greg Mall's got the best start on the outside so far. He was able to duck down in 3rd, so he didn't lose too much time, and he can always use the draft of Justin Michael to get back up there. Ashton Crowder not pulling away like he did on that first start. Everybody starting to get accustomed to these starts, so Ashton Crowder may have some troubles. Now Justin Michael is going to be moved up to that 2nd place position, and he's still gaining on that 27 machine. Greg Mall dropped off just a bit. Bobby Terrell has moved up into the 4th position, so everybody making moves now while they have the fresh tires.
Championship battle out there. Michael Waters versus Scott Simley. Scott Simley just got around to Matt Mara, and these 2 guys are battling the 68 and the 55. And it looks like Scott Simley is going to show the nose to the inside. The 55 is going to have to yield currently on lap 32 for that position. That's just inside the top 10 right there. And it looks like the 68 is going to be able to get it. And the 55, he really slowed up on the outside. The truck did not like the outside right there. Looks like the 4, throw him into the party. There's another championship driver. That's Gillen Water. He's 2nd in points right now. And him passing the 55 is everything he wants to see, and nothing the 55 wants to see. And that's still just inside the top 10. And it looks like that's going to be 8th, 9th, and 10th position between those championship guys. But don't count out that 5 of Chris Kabir. He is going to take that spot away from the 55.
And talk about a driver that knows how to move through this pack slowly and maybe fly under the radar, as I like to say. Coop Scott Simley in that 68 machine started all the way back in that 14th position, fell back to about 17th, 18th around that mark. Now look at him. He's making his way up towards the front now, inside the top 10 and in that 8th position. So Scott Simley is your points leader for a reason. He knows when to pick and choose his battles, and he knows how to get it done. He's now catching up to the 44 of Michael Atkins Jr., and we have a new leader now, Coop. Justin Michael able to force his way around Ashton Crowder and get that lead, so move Justin Michael to the point.
Yeah, just a couple laps ago, he actually just got the job done, but then since those cars are both white and look very similar, I almost thought they were the same car and did not realize it at first from a distance. But yeah, change for the lead, Justin Michael, and he's actually pulling away from Ashton Crowder, something we haven't seen many drivers do the last few races, and the 27 is still under fire from the 12. 12's going to get the nose there, and it's not going to quite work out. Ashton Crowder is going to make him pay for it. He's going to go for the lead right here. He shows the nose, and he's going to be heads up with him here, give him lap 2, the number 87, but the advantage is to the 27 of Ashton Crowder. He's going to stay on the bottom. He's going to definitely clear him going into turns number 1. Turns number 2, maybe a different story. Are we going to see a crossover out of turns number 2? Not quite yet, and he's still on his bumper. He's looking, and he's not going to go quite yet. He's going to stay on the bumper of the 12, or the 27, I should say, and the 12 of Greg Mall. He's going to be right there trying to pounce. This is a really big clustered pack right here for the lead.
Yeah, Coop, it really is, and you saw Justin Michael twitch just a little bit coming off of turn 4 when Ashton Crowder was able to make that pass, and that's what set up the 27 to have such a big opening to take that inside line. Now Justin Michael's got to figure out how to stop 2 chase drivers from getting around, especially 2 strong chase drivers here tonight at Texas. We got Greg Mull, Aaron Bennett both on the back bumper of that 87 machine, and Ashton Crowder's got to be liking this because you mentioned not very many people have pulled away from Ashton Crowder today, but Ashton Crowder definitely knows how to work this track and pull away from people, and you're seeing it now. He's got just a tiny bit of a gap between him and the 87 of Justin Michael, but now we're battling for the lead, and that's all we wanted to see here at Texas.
Yeah, I'd say that the 27 of Ashton Crowder may have saved his stump just a little bit, and the 87 was going for it. And he's still going for it. He's going to try and pass him outside of turns number 4. Maybe he's going to go for it, and Ashton blocks him the whole way down the front straightaway, but he's not going to be able to keep him down. Looks like the 87 and Justin Michael goes for the position again. They're side by side for the lead right now. 27 versus 87, and the 27 is going to have the run off the corner. They're still side by side for the lead. This is only going to bring more cars into the picture. 2 championship drivers right behind them. Then you got the number 94, Bobby Terrell. He's going to be coming up through these guys. The top 7 are right in that picture. And man, as it close, top 3 are within a 10th right now, and you're just watching the 27 or the 87 go up and down the track, blocking both lanes like it's a super speedway. And that 27 is on the outside, kind of stuck out to dry. He's lost 2 positions. This is the lowest we've seen him all day.
Yeah, and that outside is not where you want to be if you're Ashton Crowder. He was able to drop back in line in front of that 3 machine of Aaron Bennett, but not before he lost that position to Greg Mull. Greg Mull has been so strong on these short runs, and I can't wait to see what that 12 machine has on these long runs. Aaron Bennett shading low, not going to quite get there, but as you mentioned, bringing a lot of drivers back up to the pack. Bobby Terrell, Michael Atkins Jr., and Dwayne Dunn have all caught up to this pack, and they're waiting to make their move. Everything seemed to be single filed out, and nobody's pushing just quite yet, but Greg Mull looking to maybe get there going out of turn 4. Not quite. He exited the corner just a little bit lower than Justin Michael, but not quite there yet as Aaron Bennett is side by side with Ashton Crowder going off into turn 1.
Yeah, it looks like Crowder's going to maybe lose another position before all is said and done. If he continues to lose more positions, he's going to be, well, he's going to be, right now, sorry, he's at the lowest position he's been at all day, and if he loses more positions, it's only going to bear a little bit more on the 27. We've seen him come back from a place like this before, though. He lost a few positions at Martinsville and actually lost a lot of positions later on in the race, but right now I think he's still in a position where he's comfortable. That 27 doesn't typically panic. He just gets in the mode, gets in the groove, and sometimes will get out of it in the middle of a run. Right now I just think he's out of his groove. He likes to be out front, hasn't had to deal with a lot of cars passing him. Right now he's actually going to look to lose maybe another spot. The 39 looks on the inside. That's Dwayne Dunn. Looks like Dwayne Dunn will just give the nose. It doesn't look like he'll be able to get on the inside. Yes, he will actually, but I don't think he's going to be able to pull it off here. But the 27 is going to be able to keep that position. Ashton Crowder back to 6th place after all is said and done.
And this could be falling right into Ashton Crowder's game plan if we're talking about strategy here, Coop, because, you know, all these drivers did stay out up here in the top 10 under that last caution. Nobody came down pit road, so he could just be saving his tires, riding around, not really pushing things too hard. You saw him drop off quite a bit, as now he's going to catch lap traffic at the wrong time coming out of 4. That's the 29 of Trevor Harmon. Everybody's trying to work around right now, but Ashton Crowder could just be saving tires, and it's not a bad option for as long as we've been green and them staying out on those just lap old tires. It could be playing right into his game plan, and I'm going to say we're going to see Ashton Crowder come back towards the front before we hit pit stops.
Yeah, last week was a really good week for Justin Michael. He had been so dominant. He's won 7 races on the season, and that's a very large amount for any of these drivers. And if you've been around the series, you would know that during the regular season is where he won all of those races, and he's led a lot of these guys here. Tonight he's leading a couple laps here now, and I'm sure he wants to get back to victory lane, try and get 8, which would lead all drivers by double. And I think Justin Michael really wants to get that done. Last week he got in the top 3. Now he's back to the lead. He hasn't been to the lead, I think, since he's actually won that race at the Glen at week 17. So definitely different story for the 87. He's back on to where he is. Not a championship driver, but at the same time, he's back there at the front, being chased by Greg Mullen. Leader's not getting too far away. Actually, it looks like he may have grazed the wall just a little bit right there in the 12. He's trying to come and pounce on that. Gets his wheels below the white line. You don't want to do that, Greg Mullen. He may lose a little bit of time right there.
Yeah, and you saw just how much momentum was lost from the 12 machine getting onto that apron. That's going to allow Aaron Bennett to close in just a little bit of that gap. That gap was almost a 2-car breakaway there, Coop. He was up half a second on that 3 machine of Aaron Bennett, and now Aaron Bennett's going to be able to make a decision, as now Justin Michael slow going into turns 3 and 4. Maybe some contact from the wall from that driver, as now he's able to push it down to the inside to stay in front of Aaron Bennett. But new leader, Greg Mull, right place, right time, was able to capitalize on so many mistakes from that 87 machine. 87's got to get his head clear if he wants to keep up front.
Sometimes when you're backed into a corner, you drive your best. 12 is to the lead, and man, I'm sure it feels good for him, but it's only lap 49. We still have a lot of laps to go, over 100 here at Texas, and I'd say right now that 12 is obviously in the place you want to be, is in the lead, but you want to be there at the end too. Trying to think of strategy. When will pit stops come? We haven't had any green flag pit stops yet. We haven't had a long enough green flag run, but that 12 logging those bonus points right now, getting some laps in here, trying to see what the lead feels like. And I'd say there's a lot of drivers right now trying to get their tires under that white line, and it's a lot of them. I saw the 3 of Aaron Bennett do it a few laps ago. I saw the 87 do it right before he lost the lead, and we saw the 12 do it. So these guys almost flirting with a little bit of disaster. They can get a little bit more speed if they're right on the white line, but if they go under it, they'll get that rear end to really kick out. And as you saw Greg Mull do that one time, it's not exactly ideal, but you can get a little bit more speed if you're right on the white line. Right as you see it right there, you can see the 12 do it right there. And if you can do it just as much as he does, you can get a huge launch as he just did. But if you get a little too greedy, it can really pay you back in the wrong way.
Yeah, and you are really treading a fine line by getting down there towards that apron there, Coop. But if you do play it the right way, then it helps the car turn and you get a humongous run off the corner. I've been watching the 27 of Ashton Crowder do it just a little bit. He was able to force his way around up into the 5th position. He dropped all the way back to 7th for a little bit, made his way back up. Now he's got his sights set on Michael Atkins Jr. in that 44 machine in 4th. So he's slowly making his way back up there. As pit stops are happening right now. Ashton Crowder down pit road.
And same with Justin Michael. He came from 2nd place. He actually showed the nose to the 12 of Greg Mull that he was coming to pass him, then came to pit. So that was an interesting one. Showed the nose, moved the number 12 out of the way, then came down for pit stop. So I'd say that's a pretty good call to maybe make the 12 a little bit slower right before he comes down pit road. But it looks like the 87, the 27 coming down pit road, and they are the first 2 and only 2 to come down this time on lap 53. We will see who comes down next, if any. Doesn't look like any comers this time. Taking a look around the track, nobody is coming down pit road in the top 15 at this moment.
And they're not even the first to come down pit road. We've had Bobby Terrell, Scott Simley duck down the pit lane so far. Bobby Terrell fast pit stop. He was in and out. Now he's 1 lap down. The first car 1 lap down back in 19th. He was the driver that Ashton Crowder was working by as they were getting through, and he flies by Ashton Crowder coming out of the pit road, getting up the speed on the backstretch. So green flag pit stop's definitely underway this time. it's definitely happening, and now we just got to wait for Greg Mall, Aaron Bennett to come down pit road. Michael Atkins Jr. is falling off just a little bit, about a second behind those two. So all strategy from here on out.
And the battle for the lead is still going on. Doesn't matter if it's during pit cycles. Looks like the number 3 of Aaron Bennett, he just passed the number 12 of Greg Mall, and they're both going to stay out. But new leader right now, Aaron Bennett, he's going to get a lap led, get that bonus point, and you'll continue to see these drivers fight at it. But it looks like the 12 is starting to really fall off, maybe just a little bit on this long run. May not be a bad idea to come down pit road, but Aaron Bennett, as we've always said in these 1.5 mile tracks, very good on the long run. It looked like he may have just radioed in that he's going to be coming down pit road. He's showing that he's going to be on the entrance, wiggles that car just a little bit, but he's going to be able to come down pit road at a very slow 50 miles an hour.
Yeah, and what a great job by Aaron Bennett to keep that car under control there, Coop, as he got just too fast on that apron and almost sent that car into the inside wall, but he was able to brake it hard, get it slowed down, and get down pit road. That leaves Greg Mall, Michael Atkins Jr., Tommy Ryan out there now, Michael Walters, and Matt Mara out there on the track. That's your top 5. Greg Mall still gonna stay out, not coming down this time, and so is Michael Atkins Jr.
I think maybe the number 12 of Greg Mall is thinking about Martinsville last week when he did pit. He pit early, and then he paid the price with a lap car later on in the race. And yeah, you'll see the lap cars soon, but at the same time, he won't have to deal with them currently. And if maybe he can bank on something happening on the track that would provide a caution, he would be able to really benefit from it. But right now, he's still in first, trying to get more laps led. I think the 27 still has the most laps led at this time in the race. But at the same time, that 44 is starting to catch these guys up, or this driver up, the number 12 and 44. Doing battle still on the track, but I'd say that the 12 is starting to really lose ground on some of these other guys. It's only half a tenth or half a second right now between the 12 and the 44 right now, but it looks like the 44, he's going to come down pit road pretty early compared to a lot of these other drivers, so it's going to leave Greg Mall and Tommy Ryan, Waters, Walker, and Cutts right now on the lead lap.
And you look, Bobby Terrell, he was the first car to make it down pit road. He's just gotten past Tommy Ryan. Same with Ashton Crowder's passing. So these are the drivers who are on the fresh tires, the first 2 cars to pit, and they're just behind Greg Mall, who is still staying out. Then you got Justin Michael. He's pitting now, Greg Mall down as Justin Michael flies by him on the outside. If everything goes to plan, it looks like Justin Michael is going to assume that lead and have a huge gap between him and Ashton Crowder as pit stops are starting to cycle through.
Yeah, Tommy Ryan's going to lead a position, or lead a lap right there. I think it's his first lap led in quite a few races, so looking for that number 6 to come down here shortly. But at the same time, we do see, it looks like Jamie Walker, he's going to continue to stay out as well. And I do believe he may be one of the last drivers out there on this strategy, on the longer run strategy. We do see a lot of drivers try the multiple strategies, and sometimes they pay off, sometimes they don't. 17 coming down pit road this time. It looks like most drivers have come down for pit service, and we're just going to have to see how it all cycles out. I do believe that Tommy Ryan is still staying out there, but he's getting freight trained by a lot of the drivers. Just about everyone else has fresher tires in them.
Yeah, and at this point, you start to question the strategy call of that 6 machine of Tommy Ryan. As he's still staying out there. He's only losing time, only hurting his chances, but hey, he's got nothing to lose. He's not in the top 6, and he's just trying things, and it doesn't hurt to try things early, especially on the pit stop. And maybe Tommy Ryan knows something we don't know here, Coop, so maybe he's trying to stretch it for as long as possible, maybe get a caution out of this, but he needs to think fast, because Justin Michael already back up to 3rd. He's been on pit road. Now he's going to cross the line and be up to 2nd as Jamie Walker's cycled through the pit stops. So 2nd place goes to Justin Michael, Ashton Crowder, and Bobby Terrell. Aaron Bennett is going to be now 5th, so Tommy Ryan's going to make up his mind real quick.
He's actually going down pit road right about now. We'll see how the strategy plays out for that number 6 machine, and I'd say a little strategy never hurt anybody out here, and especially if you start 15th and haven't been quite up there towards the front, and you want to see if you can maybe get some track position on a caution or on just a maybe get yourself to get one less pit stop in there. There's a lot of time loss when you do stay out there, but there's also a lot of time loss when you go to pit stops once again. So that's also got to write in the pocketbook of these guys and in the notes of a lot of these guys to see what happens if you can try and stretch the fuel mileage a little bit, try and stretch these tires a little bit, and see if you can take out one of the pit stops, go to the second plan, and maybe cut out up to a full minute between that cycle. It may not work out, but it's worth trying for a lot of these drivers who aren't towards the front.
Yeah, and that time by stops have cycled through. Justin Michael is your leader, and Ashton Crowder is actually tracking him down big time here, Coop. Coming out of 3 and 4, there was a half a second gap. He was just in front of Bobby Terrell, who has seemed to have fallen off a bit. Now 8 tenths back from those drivers. Now Ashton Crowder is 2 tenths behind Justin Michael, so gaining a lot of ground on that 87 machine, and Ashton Crowder definitely wants that lead back.
This shows you the difference between tires. Obviously, the 27 came in a little bit later than the 87. 87 came down earlier and got the time earlier. Now the 27 has the fresher tires and is definitely gaining on the 87 here of Justin Michael. It's only a matter of time before he's there, but when will he pass him? We'll have to see, because these tires are better, maybe. But at the same time, even if you have better tires, doesn't mean you can necessarily pass a driver, especially with the fact that we are coming up on lap traffic. Looks like the 04 is going to be getting out of the way pretty easily right there. With these lap trucks, you're going to have to see. Looks like we got a car actually coming down pit road. I don't know if that was planned to come down with that much velocity, but looks like Trevor Harmon's going to cut through the cone, cut through the grass. No caution's going to come out for the number 29 right there. But that was a close one for those guys up front to see that pink machine almost wreck.
Definitely a close call from Trevor Harmon there. He was able to keep it under control, go through the grass, and he's now slow on the back straightaway. He's currently 4 laps down off those leaders, so maybe try it again. Everybody has trouble with pit stops here at Texas. It's kind of hard to get off the pit road, so it's an easy mistake to make. Maybe he'll try this time. No, he'll just stay out. Justin Michael, close call, but if we go back up here to the lead, coming off a turn 2, Ashton Crowder is going to be there. He's going to be on the back bumper. Scratch that Justin Michael was able to pull a little bit off of turn 2, but not too much. Ashton Crowder is there through 3 and 4, and now Justin Michael's got to play defensive coming off of turn 4.
Yeah, he's actually pulling him quite a bit right there, a little bit more than was expected on the 27, and perhaps that 87 has a pretty good long-run truck. I do know that once we get green flag pit stops in for that number 27, he starts to feel really alive. Once he's getting into a rhythm, we can really see that 27 do really well at these tracks. At this moment, though, it looks like it's pretty even between these two drivers, the 87 and 27. Pretty even out there on the track, pretty even on tires, and you gotta think to yourself which one's gonna really start to benefit from their tire strategy. But at the moment, it looks like the 87's able to hold off the 27 at the moment. You can't forget about the 94 of Bobby Terrell. He's still in 3rd. He's made up quite a bit of ground. Started 11th, now 3rd. We got Aaron Bennett in 4th, and Gillenwater, he's in the 4th position right now, but quite a ways back. He's over 4 seconds behind our leaders. And then you got Scott Simley. He's in 6th. Dwayne Dunn 7th. Michael Atkins Jr. He's in 8th. Then Michael Waters in 9th. And Greg Mall, he's fallen all the way back to 10th. And that's what the strategy has come out to play for him. He played his cards, and that's what's come out for him to do. So we're going to see that 12 car have to carve his way throughout the field.
Yeah, possibly the biggest loser there on pit road. Now we have a side-by-side battle for that third place position. Aaron Bennett's going to pass Bobby Terrell with ease. So be looking for that 3 of Aaron Bennett to start coming through the field and catch back up. He's got a really good long run truck. As you mentioned, he's always great on the long runs here at Texas, and he's definitely showing it now. Ashton Crowder's fallen off to over half a second now, 6/10 off of Justin Michael, so he's going to start falling back into the clutches of Aaron Bennett going down into turn 3.
We're getting pretty close to that halfway point in the race, but before we take that opportunity for a midway race break, we will take a break. Before all of that, so we can go through your full field rundown, you're watching LSR TV here at Texas Motor Speedway. We'll see you soon.
Hi guys, I'm Scott Speed, driver of this amazing Volkswagen Beetle GRC car. I got good news for the iRacing fam. We got this coming in. I'm currently working on it myself personally to make sure that it is as accurate as possible. With the addition of dirt and now this mean car, it is gonna be so fun. And it's gonna be available free to all the iRacing members. Personally, I can't wait to get out there and race you guys on it.
So cool, yeah. Nate, what are you working on at the moment?
So I'm working on the animation for the game. We're working on getting pit crews fully developed, and that involves a lot of moving parts. So I'm going in and making sure that each moving part can dovetail smoothly into the next one, so that when you pull in for a pit stop, it looks like the real thing, as opposed to a bunch of jumbled pieces that suddenly stop and then go and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's so cool, but why aren't you working on the time model? Nothing?
Welcome back to the Great American Speedway here at Texas, as Justin Michael has the lead over Aaron Bennett and Ashton Crowder. They're in second and third position right now. Aaron Bennett is hauling the mail right now. He's got himself a truck that's pretty souped up, has some really fresh tires, is on the run on the 87 here. Chris said it over the break that the 3 car is really alive right now, and it's easy to see.
Yeah, but he's still got a lot here, Coop, is he's now half a second off from Justin Michael. Justin Michael may be just saving his stuff because he really has no pressure right now, because Aaron Bennett's still a ways behind, but Aaron Bennett slowly creeping back in the picture. A quick note that Coop brought to my attention under the caution: Shane Hawthorne, one of your chase drivers who we saw get involved in that accident early on, is back out on the track, and he's sitting 24th, 20 laps down. But every position counts here, Coop. Points are points, and that's the only way you're going to advance into the championship 3. So it's good to see that driver back out there trying to salvage the day. Now Aaron Bennett is going to be right there coming off of turn 4, and I'm going to be saying we're going to have a new leader before this lap is over.
Yeah, before the next lap is over. On lap 81, maybe he'll get him this time. But even if he doesn't, he's still running very fast, but possibly that 87 could hold him up. But we have talked time and time again how Aaron Bennett has been so close to getting a win. He's on the inside right now of the 87, and he's going to put that nose down to the bottom of the track, and he's going to be able to clear him before the corner is completely over. So no contest there. And actually a little bit of a drag on the 87. He actually got on the apron a little bit, lost a little bit of speed. Actually looks like a lot of speed. He's over a 3/10 lead. So the 3 is going to be the new leader here right now. got his first lap led during the pit cycle. He's going to be now leader for good right now, and gosh, he's got himself a humongous lead over the 87. We've talked time and time again how he's been so close to getting a win here this season. He's been so close. He's finished second so many times. Will tonight be his night? Only time will really tell, but I'll tell you that the 3 of Aaron Bennett has been so close so many times, and he's always been in this position. We can never say he's in the prime position to win until it's the very end, I think.
Yeah, and look here, we had our second and third drivers there could pull down pit road for another round of green flag pit stops. That's going to be Justin Michael and Ashton Crowder come down pit road. So that's going to leave Aaron Bennett all by himself on the track now coming out of turn 4. He's going to put those drivers a lap down, and we're now starting the cycle once again as 2 and 3 come down. Ashton Crowder and Justin Michael. That's going to bump Michael Atkins Jr. up into the second place position and Robert Gillenwater into third. So definitely a weird strategy. I didn't expect him to come down this early. I saw that Aaron Bennett was pretty fast, so maybe they're just trying to compensate. It's going to be interesting to see how that strategy works out.
We were going to go to the Midway race break this lap, but I'd say that we might have to wait a little bit just to see how everything is going to play out. This is really going to mix things up, and I think we won't really know exactly how this race is going to turn out if it goes green the rest of the way until probably the last 10-15 laps here, Chris, because of how soon they are pitting. We only have 11 trucks on the lead lap right now, and you could just probably say that Matt Mara and the top 10 are going to be a part of that group here shortly. And Aaron Bennett, he is running really fast times. He's 4 seconds in front of some of these guys, but we have these guys on a different cycle of pit stops and a different strategy. And I think we're going to see drivers actually be able to skip out on a pit stop versus some of these other guys, but who can really make it really work. I think the best, it's got to be a lot about that pit entrance. And if maybe you think that you can come into pit road really fast is going to make the difference, I think the 3 is going to come down pit road this time. He's going to give up the lead to the 44 of Michael Atkins Jr. And I bet he was planning on it for the last couple laps, seeing those guys come in for fresh rubber, and there might be a couple other guys coming down as well.
Yeah, Robert Gillenwater is going to follow his fellow Chiefs driver down into the pit road. And I've been looking, and you know somebody who's been flying under our radar, Coop, since the last green flag pit stop, that 6 machine of Tommy Ryan. He flew by Greg Mall that time to pick up the 5th position. So we were talking about what that strategy call would mean for that 6 machine. Well, it means he has really good tires during the long run, and he's able to last a lot longer. So you're talking about drivers able to miss a pit stop. Well, if this goes green the entire way, it's going to play into the hands of that driver in the 5th position right now moved up to 3rd. That 6 of Tommy Ryan, as he's on rails right now with the only car that has any sort of tires left.
Yeah, get your pen, get your notebook out, get maybe an eraser as well, because this one's going to be one of those races where there's just so many strategies out there on the track. Who pitted when, who took 4 tires, who it hasn't come down at all. And I'm excited to see how this one plays out, because I don't think we've seen a race like this happen in some time. Granted, it's got to keep going green, but at the same time, there's the strategies all over the place. No one is coming down at the same time hardly. When they are, it's only a couple drivers, maybe here and there, and separated might be maybe a couple laps. But right now, the 55 of Michael Waters he's actually in the lead right now. And I think if this plays out like it is, we may get the most lead changes this race that we've seen at a 1.5 mile track this season, which could really prove useful to a lot of these chase drivers to get some bonus points before it's all over. Michael Waters, I do believe, gets his first bonus points of the night this cycle. And we saw Tommy Ryan get some bonus points, although he's not in it for the chase, but still can help himself out, maybe get a position with his other fellow competitors. But a lot of drivers are going to lead laps tonight, which I think is really cool for some drivers that don't get towards the front enough.
You took the word right out of my mouth. This gives drivers who really don't get to lead a lot of laps here in the USR Truck Series a little bit of hope. They can play the strategy card and try to win, which strategy is always one of the best ways to win. I am a big proponent of strategy, and you'll hear me talking about it through most of our broadcasts here on LSRTV. And Tommy Ryan is playing the right strategy at this moment, but it does have to go green, like you said, Coop. You can't have one caution for this strategy to work out. If there's one caution, you can toss Tommy Ryan's strategy right out the window because it's all going to crumble into rubble at that point. But Greg Mall still out there on the track, hasn't pit. He's a little off the pace. He's one of those drivers that has used up all of his stuff. Tommy Ryan in second, but he's getting passed by drivers with fresher tires. It's going to be that's going to be Scott Simley now passing him, and Robert Gillenwater coming up the inside. So strategy, maybe these drivers are going to come in. Michael Waters just in front of them. So all these drivers have got to make a decision soon, or they're going to get swarmed by these fresh tires.
Yeah, so one we've hardly talked about tonight is Scott Simley. We talked about how he's led basically this entire championship at this point. He won the first 2 rounds of the championship, and right now, if the race were to end, I think he'd actually be behind a little bit, but I think he'd still have the advantage if as the race continues to go on for the lead. He's been so strong and so consistent, and that's all you can that's what you would expect from a defending series champion. The 68 is, and as it continues to play out, looks like Tommy Ryan, he's going to be in the lead for a short bit. Greg Mall is in second. Walker Waters has forfeited the lead, I think, and then Justin Michael, he's the first car to come down pit road earlier on, and he's in 5th in front of Ashton Crowder. Those two pitted together, so 4 cars still on the lead lap or on the cycle, staying out and trying to extend their fuel runs. Ryan, Mall, Walker, Waters. And we saw Ryan really benefit from this. He was not ahead of Greg Mall. Perhaps maybe Mall had a penalty, had an issue on pit road, because that 12 car, I think, if it played different the way it should have, he should be actually pretty far ahead. So I'm thinking that something may have happened to 12. Don't know for certain, but he's still in second right now.
Yeah, and as everybody's cycling through pit stops, if you're looking at the car that not Ashton Crowder, but Justin Michael had just passed, you'd be looking at the 166 machine of Ralph Vander Vorst. And I know that may sound weird for the people that are at home that are not that are keeping their scorecards and keeping track of this series throughout the entire series. Ralph Vander Vorst has taken an EOL at the beginning, which I think is something we neglected to mention at the start. So if you stay in that 166 machine, just be sure that you know that it is the 66 machine of Ralph Vander Vorst. I wanted to make a quick note of that because he was getting passed by some of the fresh tire guys, but Tommy Ryan still out there in the lead, and he's still doing pretty good. Still got great pace with those tire strategies still working in. He's 4 seconds ahead of Greg Mall, as Scott Simley is now past Greg Mall. Jamie Walker down pit road, so he'll forfeit the 3rd position, and that's only inching Justin Michael and company closer to that lead.
I have to wonder with some of these drivers coming down pit road, staying out longer. Looks like the 12 of Greg Mall, he's going to come down to a slow 50 miles an hour to make his pit stop. If some of these drivers can actually extend it to skip 2 pit stops. And I'm thinking that for the number 6 of Tommy Ryan, because he has stayed out longer than any driver out there, and really he's lost a little bit of time, but you saw how much he gained on Greg Mall that last time, and I don't believe that the 12 really had too much of an issue coming down pit road or exiting. So I'm looking at that 6 car right now, Tommy Ryan, to maybe play spoiler of all these other drivers, not even just a chase spoiler, but just a race spoiler in general. And I've got my eyes on that 6 truck, not as much as I've got my eyes on that 3 of Aaron Bennett, as those guys have been extremely strong this entire race, and the 6 has been strong of strategy. He's coming down pit road right now. He's getting his left side tires right now, but at this moment he's leading, getting laps under his belt, and maybe playing spoiler. It's a long ways to the end. We've got almost 67 laps to go as we're hitting the 100 mark this next time by. But man, this is going to be an interesting finish.
It really is, and with that driver taking down pit road, that 6 machine of Tommy Ryan, that's finally kind of cycle everything out here. Coop on green flag pit stops and cycle Justin Michael to the lead. Ashton Crowder in 2nd, Aaron Bennett in 3rd, 4th, Terrell and Atkins Jr. That's your top 5 as they run right now. Gillen Waters made up a huge amount of time. He started 7th, he fell back throughout the pack. Now he's sitting in 6th. So all these drivers making some great strategy calls, and I don't know, I just love strategy races, Coop, and this is shaping it up to be a really good one.
Yeah, and I think it's a good segue to go to our Midway race break, brought to you by iRacing, the leading online racing simulation. Developed from the beginning as a centralized racing and competition service, iRacing organizes, hosts, and officiates races on virtual tracks all around the world. In the fast-paced world of esports, iRacing is a one-stop shop for online racing with officially sanctioned racing from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, World of Outlaws, and many more. Justin Michael is leading the way, extending his lead over Ashton Crowder, but not before Aaron Bennett takes that second position away, and then Ashton Crowder will be relegated to the 3rd position. Bobby Terrell has been quietly in the top 5 and 4th position right now. Michael Atkins Jr., he's in the 5th position. Robert Gillenwater is in 6th place. Scott Simley 7th. Dwayne Dunn 8th. Michael Waters is in 9th. And Tommy Ryan, he is in 10th.
11th sits that 42 machine of Matt Mara. George Hendricks is going to be 12th. 13th belongs to one of your chase drivers, that 12 machine of Greg Mall. He's going to be the first car one lap down in 13th. Ralph Vandervorst in 14th. Jamie Walker in that 17 machine, 15th. 16th belongs to Brian Kutch. James Nunn, 17th. 18th belongs to Chris Gabot. 19th, Michael Warren. And Randy Tesser is going to round out your top 20.
Trevor Harmon is in 21st position. Michael Waite, 22nd. Michael Priester is in 23rd. Shane Hawthorne, 24th. Scott Formosa is in 25th position. Kenneth Dale Osmond, he's in 26th position. Stephen Herring will finish out 27th, 78 laps down. Alan Lewis and Jason Jacoby, also with issues earlier, will finish out 28th and 29th. That's been a look at your iRacing Midway race break. For more information on the wide variety of sim racing possibilities, visit iRacing.com to sign up today. For a limited time, you can now visit iRacing.com/World of Outlaws and take advantage of some exclusive promo codes and get yourself iRacing with a 1-year membership for half off, or simply try it with a 3-month membership for less than $5. Again, that's iRacing.com/World of Outlaws. And I'll tell you that getting the iRacing service for $5 is quite the steal. So definitely get your hands on that as soon as you can if you don't have it already. Justin Michael still leading the way over Aaron Bennett, but since we talked about them last, Aaron Bennett has cut that lead in half, rounding out lap 105.
And it was exactly what we saw the last time around of green flag pit stops. Aaron Bennett still fast on the long run. He's slowly cutting into that lead of Justin Michael, and these lap cars aren't helping out at all. He's now fighting around the 5 of Chris Cabot, who is now 2 laps down. Chris Cabot not going to give up yet. I think Chris Cabot has the fresher tires than Justin Michael, but it's not helping that 87 out at all. Now Aaron Bennett's basically going to be there coming out of turn 2. Justin Michael loses a lot of time to that 3 machine, and he will be there going into turn 3. Not quite there enough to make a pass, but he's there to, think about it, formulate a plan, and try to work around this 87 machine.
Yeah, and these guys are coming down to pit once again. And I do believe the 87 and Justin Michael actually wanted to pit last time, but didn't because of that lap traffic with the way it happened. So they are coming down for another round of pit stops almost as soon as these guys were done with pit stops. Now these guys are still in the top 5. They continually come down to have more service on these trucks. I would almost say it's about a 20-25 lap run before these guys come down. With the limited fuel cells, these guys do have to come down quite often, but these guys are already cutting those that fuel pretty short. And it looks like the 87 at Justin Michael is going to come down, coming out of pit road pretty cleanly, and also the 27 as well, at least as we know. It looks like Ralph Vandervorst was also down pit road that time. It does give Aaron Bennett the lead. Something I just want to say right there is the fact that it does look like Aaron Bennett did not get the lead before these guys pit. So that's an interesting statistic to think about.
Yeah, Coop. And also another thing, I just want to give props to all of these drivers in the USR Truck Series right now to keep this race green and communication with all the different strategies, people pitting in, people pitting out, and people all over the track on different tires, on different cars, and everybody's doing a great job of working around each other smooth and clean, and it's been just an awesome race so far. We're just now crossing the point to lap 111, so doing a great job. We saw a few cautions there at the beginning, but everything's shaped up to be a really good race. Now Bobby Terrell forfeits the second position to come down pit road. That's going to move Robert Gillenwater up to second place. Aaron Bennett still your leader coming down the back straightaway. Everything now starting to take its toll. We mentioned Tommy Ryan, who had pit just a little bit earlier. He's now in the 8th position, so he's currently working his way back up to the front as well.
Yeah, something that the folks at home don't get to see is Aaron Bennett does come down pit road to come down for service. A lot of these folks at home don't get to see the fact that there is no spotter for a lot of these drivers. You can pick your own spotter, you can have one come in, but it's not necessary. It's not. You don't have to have a spotter in this series, and a lot of these drivers are in this race solo. They don't have any spotters. They may have teammates, but they don't have anyone in the sky helping them out, navigate through traffic, navigate through pit road. A lot of these guys call out their own stops, call out what exactly is going on, and sometimes there are miscommunications that happen, which do lead to some accidents. We almost saw one with the 87 earlier on, trying to come down pit road and had an issue with, I think it was the 5, like you said, Chris Gaveau, just trying to get a lap back is what he was trying to do, and what you can never really be too sure what's going on if you don't have anyone giving you some feedback inside that the radio. But at the same time, like you said, it's a really good job these drivers have done to keep themselves clean out there in order to get their strategies just right, because each driver has a strategy. Whether it's the same as somebody else might be a different story, but we are going to see in about 40 laps how each driver's strategy is going to play out, and it's going to be a good one because of how different everyone's strategies are, the lap traffic, the way that these trucks are running at the end of these runs. I mean, it's fantastic what's going on right now. And we're watching the 87 and the 3 of Aaron Bennett do a battle off of turns number 4. Aaron Bennett had to let him go. He's not as good of tires at the moment, but that was in the middle of traffic and somehow got it done right there.
Yeah, now, like I mentioned, Tommy Ryan in that 6 machine, who's shortly just pitted, not even about 10-15 laps ago. So he's now out in the front after Aaron Bennett and company came down pit road. That's going to put him 5 seconds in front of Matt Marr, George Hendricks, and Justin Michael, who has come down pit road already, who's up to 4th, 10 seconds back. So he's got a lot of work to do to catch that 6 machine, but that 6 definitely going to have to think about when he's coming down pit road. And we've talked about him all day here, Coop. He's just got such a good strategy going on, and you're talking about people skipping 1, maybe 2 pit stops. Well, it's that 6 car right there. He's definitely found out what works for him, and we got to keep this race green to see if it will actually work out. And these drivers are doing a great job of doing that. Dwayne Dunn now going to work his way by Tommy Ryan, who's pit a few laps ago. So Dwayne Dunn's going to get his lap back. That's going to move Brian Cutts to the first car 1 lap down.
Yeah, still out there leading laps is the number 6 of Tommy Ryan. And Matt Mara, also someone who's trying that strategy along with George Hendricks. And then you have Justin Michael, who's going to soon get to these guys and see what he's got. He actually passed the number 3 of Aaron Bennett. Bennett pit later than Michael did. So that's quite the pass, I would say. That's a little bit more subtle than I'd expect. It looks like we got a car almost around in turns number 1. It looks like Trevor Harmon almost looped it around in turns number 1. We stay green. Very slow on the apron right there. We might get a replay here for you shortly. I don't know exactly how that came to be. Looks like the 29 actually just hit the outside wall just a little bit and hit the apron and kept that car straight and kept it on the bottom.
Yeah, I don't really know if that would play into the favor of that 6 machine of Tommy Ryan, because all these drivers who have pit have been on their tires for quite a few laps now, and he's 7 seconds ahead of Justin Michael on that 87 machine. So maybe a caution would work for Tommy Ryan, put them all back on the same schedule and see who can race it out to the end. But the green flag is still out, and everybody still seems to be racing pretty hard. 14 cars on the lead lap, with Dwayne Dunn getting his lap back. So a lot of more racing to go. Drivers still trying to get their laps back. Position changes all over the place. We see Bobby Terrell making his way around Jamie Walker for the 7th position. So everybody making moves. Nobody's really letting up, but they're staying real clean here tonight, Coop.
We are getting close to almost 100 laps of straight green flag racing. If we can get to lap, I think 130, I think that's what it's going to be. Lap 130, we will have made it 100 complete green flag laps, which is a huge accomplishment for these drivers. But at the same time, it's the endurance that these guys are going to have to really feel right now to get their strategy going. There can be no mistakes. And something I was thinking about just a second ago is that these drivers, you can play a little bit of, give and take. And if a caution flag comes out, then your give and take, you might be able to take or give later on, and then a caution might come out and give that back. When you give or take here, let's say you give somebody a spot, you may not get that back on this long green flag run. And I'd say these drivers from here on out, they may think it's a green flag run the rest of the way. They're going to be taking everything that they can get. It's getting close to 40 laps to go. We're going to see these strategies really shape up here, probably around lap 130, which is about the time they get to that 100 laps under green. And man, this is going to be quite the predicament that some of these drivers are in, and quite the accomplishment that some of the other drivers are going to be in. 8 laps till we really see what's going on out here. A lot of drivers still have to pit one more time. Everybody but Tommy Ryan has to pit, I'd say, for fuel. Tommy Ryan has to pit one more time for fuel, of course. But he's the leader, and he did this by strategy, by design, by plan. And I'd say that the 6 has a good strategy. Don't know if it's going to pay off quite yet here, Chris. But man, this is really starting to develop, and I think one of the most interesting races we've seen.
Yeah, Coop, it really is. And while everything's still green and everybody's cycled through their pit stops, I want to give you a quick update on where all your chase drivers are running right now. Right now in 3rd, that's going to be your first chase driver of Aaron Bennett. He's currently sitting in the lead in points as everything is going through right now. Then you got the 12 of Greg Mall, who's having a phenomenal day, definitely a day that he needed. He's sitting in the 5th place position. Then we go all the way back to Robert Gellenwater, who's back in 9th place as a yellow flag comes out here, Coop. So that's going to stop me from talking, and that's going to stop all these drivers on the track. This changes just about, if not everything.
It was the 29 of Trevor Harmon once again. Got a piece of the apron, crushed the outside wall, and spun it to the infield grass on the front straightaway. Single car accident going to stop all 20 cars out here on the speedway to a grueling 60 miles an hour after having almost 100 laps of continuous green flag runs. And this puts a wrench in a lot of people's strategy. And I'd say the most happy person out here right now is going to be that number 6 of Tommy Ryan, 10th in practice, 15th and 16th and 15th in qualifying. But man, this is a humongous game changer. Almost 100 laps of green flag racing, which is really good by these guys. So pit stops coming up soon, which are going to be a humongous deal breaker for some of these guys.
Yeah, it's gonna change a lot of strategies for sure. It's gonna put everybody back on the same strategy, and it looks like your first car 1 lap down is gonna be that 04 of Brian Cutts. So he's gonna get that wave around and be right back on the lead lap as Tommy Ryan is leading him down pit road for the first time in a long time, Coop. So coming down pit road, this is the first time Tommy Ryan will be leading down into his box. He's back a few ways. He started all the way back in 15th, so he's gonna have some work to do out of pit road.
Yeah, excuse me, a big drive from the number 6 of Tommy Ryan is what's going to be coming here. I'd say after these pit stops, it's game on for a lot of these drivers, and just to see which driver comes out of pit road first. Tommy Ryan is on his way to pit exit. Looks like the 12, the 87 is as well, and it looks like Justin Michael, he will get that position over Tommy Ryan by an alarming amount. At least a couple car lengths between those two guys. Justin Michael. He will resume the lead. He's had it a couple times today, but he's going to be back on top. At this point in the race, this will be our last commercial break before the most, I'd say the most interesting laps that we were seeing earlier is going to become the most intense few laps here. Last 30 laps are going to be coming after this commercial break here on LSR TV. We will see all of you in a little bit. Back at the Texas Motor Speedway here with LSRTV and the USR BNC Lawn and Landscaping Truck Series. Justin Michael has got the lead back. Tommy Rines in second, Greg Mall third, Crowder and Atkins Jr. round out your top 5 and 4th or 5th. Chris, this may be our last shot at getting a large run to the end. And man, we had a long one before this, but I think the intensity level is just about to crank up.
Yeah, I'm a little bit weary because we always know Coop cautions breed cautions, but Tommy Ryan definitely the big mover off of those strategy calls, and we get ready to go back green.
Not the first time we've seen Justin Michael be close to a win in this series. He's been there 7 times on the season. He will start these guys on lap 129. Can he do it again? He's got about 30 laps to go. And we are green here at Texas. And look at the 12 of Greg Mall. Championship driver needs everything he can get backed into a corner early on for points of the night. And he's looking for another one. Looks like Ashton Crowder. He is on the inside of the number 6 of Tommy Ryan. Gonna get around him for the position going into turns number 3. So Ryan back 2 positions here. And they're gonna be single file for the first few positions. And looks like Jamie Walker's on the outside. And he's going to actually have that position resolved. Looks like the 55 is going to get in front of him for the top 10 positions.
And going off into turn 1, Greg Mall is going to be on the back bumper of Justin Michael. Not going to quite be there to set up for a pass, but we saw Greg Mall. He's so strong on the short runs here at Coop, and he got a little bit thrown off during the strategy, fell back a little bit of ways, but now he's back up into that second place position, and he's not looking to stop there. He's slowly gaining on that 87 machine as now Ashton Crowder's around Tommy Ryan. Tommy Ryan's just getting blown by from now getting passed by Bobby Terrell and Michael Atkins Jr., Robert Gillenwater and Michael Walters side by side right behind him, and you got Jamie Walker lurking in the distance. One person that did not benefit off of those green flag pit stops and off that caution, that's the 3 of Aaron Bennett. We saw how strong he was on the long runs during that long green flag run. Well, he sits back in 12. That driver's got a lot of work to do with Scott Simmons right in front of him.
Yeah, definitely not what the 30 wanted to see, and you'd got to believe that he's trying to get through these guys as fast as possible, or possibly saving his stuff, because right now he's got a humongous maelstrom of guys in front of him that are battling it out for position and duking it out really hard, and he's got some championship drivers in front of him. He's in a terrible position in points at the moment. He's in second place, minus 3 points before this race started. So it's not going to be a terrible finish if he finishes where he is, but as you always know, you're going to try and get everything you've got out of every single race so you don't jeopardize anything here in these chase races. Every race, there's only 3 of them, and it's your best of 3. Or not your best of 3, but it's your best 3 races you've got to have in each of these races. One race can take you out, and if he's not here in the top 10, which he's in 12th right now, this could really spell disaster for him if he doesn't have a good race next week at Phoenix. To the front, though, Justin Michael is still holding off Greg Mall.
Yeah, Greg Mall is starting to stay a bit consistent, but he can't stay consistent. He can't stay there for too long because he's got to worry about now the 27 of Ashton Crowder and that drill spill machine. He's already catching back up to Greg Mall. Then you got Michael Atkins Jr. just behind them. So everybody not wanting to give an inch here, Coop, as things start to wind down here laps-wise. They don't have that much time to make any moves, and 34 laps still a long time, but when you're in that driver's seat, the time flies by.
22 laps to go that time by, and the lead is getting a little slimmer every time these guys go by, and the 12 is knocking on the door of the 87 of Justin Michael. We saw this earlier on the race on a longer run. Despite that, looks like the 27 of Ashton Crowder is going to be coming in pit road. So that's going to be an interesting deal right there. So we're going to have to see how that turns out. Not very many laps into this run, and the 27 already coming down pit road. I'd say we have less than 10 laps under this green flag run, so I'm unsure of what that's about. Possibly just to get to the end on the fuel, because there is a limited fuel cell. I believe that most drivers can make it to the end, but they're not the only ones coming down. Looks like the 44. Michael Atkins Jr. is going to come in for pit stops as well. So already we're going to have another strategy to the end of this race here, Chris.
Yeah, for those of you at home, they are at the edge of this pit window, so they can make it from here with a pit. So they're pulling off the short pit to ensure that they can make it the rest of the way. And I'm going to assume more drivers are going to follow suit, because once drivers come down, that always pulls drivers down, because you don't want to be the last one to pit, especially this late. You always want to do. Now there's a battle for the lead. Greg Mall's going to be on the inside of Justin Michael coming across the line. Greg Mall going to be there at the door this time, and he's going to be even with him, going to get that spot on the low line. New leader, Greg Mall.
And we've seen him run to the front only once like this before. It was quite a bit earlier on in the race, kind of during the small caution spell we had of a couple cautions, and then we had that long green flag run where he lost quite a bit of positions and then got them back on those on some of the pit stops as well. Had a really good pit stop, the last 2 pit stops of that cycle, and got him back inside the top 5 before that last caution came out. And right now, he's making it work. He hit the apron right there just a little bit. Got that car just a little wiggly right there, and got the 87 of Justin Michael to catch really close to his back bumper. And the 12s, he's actually running a defensive line going into 3 and 4, looks like right there. So 12 made a small mistake, but he's able to keep the 87 right behind him.
Yeah, and as long as these guys keep battling here, Coop, that's only going to allow Bobby Terrell and Tommy Ryan to catch up more and more. So they're going at it, and I don't blame them. It's getting late. They got to fight for position, even though they do have to pit one more time. Justin Michael loses a lot of time off of that corner number 2. Slow off the corner, makes a big gap there for Greg Mall, and Greg Mall is going to use that gap and just pull away. Greg Mall having a phenomenal race. We mentioned him at the top of the broadcast. He needed a great run. He was last in points. Now he's leading the race. So this is exactly where you want to be if you're that 12 machine.
Lap 141 of 167. I said it incorrectly earlier, but we are now going to be under 30 laps to go here. Greg Mall leading the way, and they have strung out quite a bit. Top 5, Mall, Michael, Terrell, Ryan, and Gillenwater. Ryan's still staying with these guys. He didn't have the best qualifying effort, but he had a decent practice position of 10th out there on the field. He's still doing really well. Got that position basically on the strategy, but he's saying that he didn't get up there by strategy. He's still staying up there. He still has the speed for these drivers. So I think that's a cool thing to see from that 6th truck, that, you know, he didn't fall off from the lead that much. He only lost 2 spots. So these guys have been up here all night long. And he's really showing that he can run up here with the guys up front. He just didn't have the best starting position. So I think that's a really cool thing to see from those 6. And look at Bobby Terrell in that 3rd position right now. He's been in 3rd and 4th place practically all day. And kind of just sitting, lurking, maybe waiting for something to happen. If something does happen, I just expect that 94 to be right there.
Yeah, as Jamie Walker's now made his way off pit road, that's going to put 10 cars now on the lead lap. Maybe now, no, Michael Walters is off pit road, so 9 cars on the lead lap. Everybody trying to get their pit stop out of the way so they can race it to the end. Now we got Greg Mall, Justin Michael down pit road. That's going to bump Bobby Terrell up to the lead, and Scott Simley to 2nd. So the leaders are now down pit road, and this is about to shape up to be a real good strategy race here, Coop.
Yeah, the 27 pitted real early, and then these guys are going to pit right now, almost cutting this run in half. They're a little bit early for the halfway point of this run, but then I think the other guys are going to try and make it to the halfway run. But Tommy Ryan did not try strategy. Actually, yes, he did. He took 2 tires right there. So number 6, still up for a gamble here, and he's got a long distance between himself and the 87. So Tommy Ryan with the 2-tire call. I will say that it's not something that you see very often at Texas because it's so bumpy, but the 6 is definitely wanting to gamble and try and get a win. When you make a gamble like that, there's only one place you're wanting, and it's first. So you're either going to take the first place or you're going to wreck the car trying to do so, and I'd say the number 6 of Tommy Ryan, he's doing exactly that, trying to get the win right now and play spoiler. So that's what that strategy's doing.
And that's exactly what you need to do. If you're that 6 machine of Tommy Ryan, you got nothing to lose. So what, you wreck the car, you come back next week and try some more gambles at Phoenix. So he's not in the chase, he's got nothing to lose, and he taking 2 tires. I'm scratching my head at the call because I've never really seen 2 tires this late, especially on a track like this at Texas. It always proves to be badly, but he's 7th place, 1 lap down, 5 cars still on the lead lap. Now 6 is George Hendricks, got his lap back, so, or no, still 5. George Hendricks went a lap down. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Michael Atkins Jr. is the last car on the lead lap.
There's a little bit of calamity that last lap. There's about 7 cars that were really close, and looked like Michael Waters, he got a little bit of damage on the right side from a little bit of contact. Looks like a driver came off the wall, so lightly tapped him on the left side, gave him maybe a side donut on the right side of that truck, but nothing that really, it looked a little bit of a, it looked pretty bad at first, but has sorted itself out, and the 55 is continuing to run. Looks like Gillenwater was a little bit in the mess as well as the 39 of Dwayne Dunn. Scott Simley coming out of pit road, he came in 3rd. A lot of drivers being passed and passing right now, of course, as these pit stops are coming up. 20 laps to go this time by.
Yeah, as we're getting the 19 lap to go mark here, Coop. Brian Cutts is 2nd. Bobby Terrell comes down pit road after Tommy Ryan has just unlapped himself, but that puts the 6 machine back on the lead lap, back in 5th. We got 13 cars on the lead lap now. Cutts still out there on the track, getting passed by Scott Simley, one of your chase drivers going down the back straightaway. Cutts will maybe be your last car, maybe Matt Mara and Michael Atkins Jr. still out there on the track, but it's definitely an interesting race here, Coop. A lot of strategy going on, everybody making it to the halfway point of this run and just trying to get to the end. So once everything shakes out, we're going to have a race on our hands.
Yeah, Cutts is in the lead right now, and these guys are going to cycle all the way through to see where exactly they go. Matt Morris still in 2nd place. I'd say that these guys are staying out. If they can't come in the next few laps, they're going to have to come down, or they're going to have to try and make it on the fuel, because at this stage, at this point in the race, it's make or break. You either come down pit road, get your fuel, and go back out there like the 6 did, or you stay out there and brave it. And I think that a lot of these drivers are going to try and brave it. And I'd say Cutts and Mara are at the point where you've got about 17 laps to go, and if you don't come in for the pits here, you're going to be at a huge disadvantage at this stage. And for Brian Cutts, who started 26th, I think might as well go for it. Matt Mara, the same thing, started 17th, was a few laps behind at one point, and they might as well go for it. But they got to think about those drivers still out there, and they're going to be a lot faster than them. They're only about 16 seconds in front of Michael Atkins Jr. and Tommy Ryan, and I do believe Michael Atkins Jr. may have tried a little bit of strategy as well, as he came in a lap before Tommy Ryan, and he's in front of him. So possibly he took 2 tires as well. And it's going to be interesting. Look at Bobby Terrell try and pass in the 3 of Aaron Bennett. He's going to be on the inside here. This is for the 6th position.
Yeah, you're really seeing the battle for the lead from 3rd on back. The top 2 still have yet to pit. Brian Cutts elected to stay out that time. Now he's going off into turn 1. Tommy Ryan is only about a second behind Michael Atkins Jr. at this point, and there's about a 2-second gap between him and Justin Michael. So everything's getting is about to start getting a little bit amped up. It's crunch time here, Coop. You're coming to the make or break moments. You got to give it everything you got. You can't lift an inch, and you can't give an inch. So Tommy Ryan's out there. Michael Atkins Jr. is going to be moved up to 2nd place as Matt Mars come down pit road. So that just leaves the 4 of Brian Cutts out on pit road as he stays out once again.
He's got himself 14 seconds of a gap, but it keeps getting cut down pretty good here. No pun intended for his last name, but he's got 15 laps to make it to the end on fuel, and he's got about 13 seconds between these guys and him. He's got to get a little bit more speed out on there on the track in order to make it. These guys are going to pass him if he does not crank up the speed a little bit, and maybe he won't be able to make it on field to the end of the race right now, unless a caution comes out or in case these guys get really held up. But he's on the back straightaway going into turns 3 right about now, and Michael Atkins Jr. is still in 1 and 2, coming out of 2 right now. So that just shows you the difference that these guys are at. It looks like the 44 actually just got in the wall, so there's something that you want to see if you're for Brian Cutts. You want those guys behind you to have issues, and that's going to bring the number 6 of Tommy Ryan into the picture as well. And you're going to see Justin Michael also start to catch these guys, and as well behind them, Greg Mall in 6th place.
Yeah, the best thing for that 04 machine is to get all these drivers in this little pack right now to battle, because that's going to just slow them down, and it's going to allow Brian Cutts to save a little bit more fuel, because Cutts has made his bed and he's got to lay in it at this point. We're coming up to 11 laps to go this time by Coop, so he's pretty much out there to run it dry or win the race. So it's definitely going to be interesting to get, as see Justin Michael on the inside of Tommy Ryan. That's going to be the pass for the 3rd place position. He's going to get a 2-for-1 as he just slides by Michael Atkins Jr.'s. Tommy Ryan's going to get real close. Almost big trouble out of turn 2 from all sides of that 6-car machine.
And Brian Cutts is quickly losing time on these guys. He's down to 8 seconds of a lead, and you can see that truck is very slow on the track, about 158 at the grandstand, while Justin Michael's at 180. So there's a 30-mile-an-hour difference, and now he's cut the lead in half. 4 seconds now, and Michael Atkins Jr. and Tommy Ryan trying to keep Bobby Terrell and Greg Long behind him. This 3-4 horse race right now starting to get a little bit mixed up. They're getting really close in front of a chase driver right here on the back straightaway. The 6, the 44, 94, and 12. This is right in front of Greg Mall, and he does not want to see these guys race too aggressively, but at the same time, he needs to get by all these guys to get as many points as possible. You're seeing this battle really stretch itself out 2 by 2 for the 4th position right now, and Terrell is going to probably get it here in the corners as the 6 had 2-tire strategy earlier. And look at the race lead. It has changed hands. Plans have changed. The 87 of Justin Michael has reclaimed the lead. He's got himself a large gap between the guys behind him.
It was a valiant effort by the 04 of Brian Cutts to try the strategy and try to make it on fuel, but the tires just weren't there, and that definitely hurts the speed here at Texas as there's contact between him and Michael Atkins Jr. Michael Atkins Jr. goes off into the grass. What a save by the 44 machine to keep the track green A really big contact, just caught the 04 at the worst point on that front try, and now it's going to be off pace for Michael Atkins Jr. Justin Michael in the lead. Bobby Terrell in second, and that first chase driver, Greg Mall, is going to be third, having a phenomenal run and a phenomenal points day here tonight.
Yeah, that almost spelled disaster for the 44 Michael Atkins Jr., who's been having a pretty decent day. He's not going to lose any positions on these guys. He's going to lose over 5 seconds on the lead, but actually didn't lose any positions. It's because of how big of a lead they had on Gillenwater and company. And you've got to believe that, yeah, he tried the two-tire strategy earlier on. He may not have been able to get those positions, but it kind of stinks that he wasn't able to at least make an effort for it. Although the one making the really good effort right now is Justin Michael. Of course, right now, he's not the fastest truck on track. And neither is Greg Mall, who's sitting in third. Bobby Terrell, out of those top 3, is the fastest truck, and by 0.2 a lap. We have more than 5 laps to go with a 0.8 second lead. If this continues, we are going to see a battle for the lead, and it's going to get really intense here with about 5 laps to go.
Yeah, Bobby Terrell may be able to get there now, cut the lead down at 10th, now 7/10 behind Justin Michael. He might get there, but it's so tough to pass here at Texas. As you see, Justin Michael dip by some lap traffic. That's a chase driver, Shane Hawthorne, down in turns 3. So it's so tough to pass here at Texas Coupe, especially on the old tires, and especially for as long as these guys have been running. So he's going to have a perfect next few laps if he's going to have any shot at getting to Justin Michaels. He's kind of even out now at 7/10 a second behind the 87 machine. So we'll have to see how this actually plays out for that 94.
Yeah, with the lap traffic being a little bit in the way, Bobby Terrell definitely was trying to get around that lap traffic as good as he could, and just had him in the wrong place right out of 4. Didn't want to get too close to him, and maybe gave a little bit too much room, but did not have an incident with him. But at the same time, with 3 laps to go, Bobby Terrell took another 0.2 off Justin Michael right there, and he's getting ever so close. You could almost bring the Jaws theme here. I'm not sure he's going to be there in time to pass him, but I think he'll at least be there to give it a shot and bring Greg Mall into the picture. If those two start fighting, this is going to be an interesting one. 2 laps to go here at the stripe.
And the bumper always becomes a thing here when you get that late, even if Bobby Terrell gets to him, as we're now 2 laps to go here. Coop, and he's gonna be there coming off of turn 2. He gained a lot of time on that 87 of Justin Michael. He's gonna be almost there, not gonna be quite there to make the pass in turns 3 and 4. Justin Michael's got to play all kinds of defensive on that 94 machine. The 94 gets a huge run out of turn 4. White flag, 1 more lap to go.
Justin Michael on the defensive, Bobby Terrell on the offensive. Going down to the 1 and 2. Bobby Terrell has the speed. He's caught up to him. When will he make the pass? He doesn't have it right now. On the back straightaway, he's going to make the move to the inside. Thinks better of it. He's going to try the outside maybe. Get a run into the next corner. He's going to try everything he's got, but he's not going to have enough for Justin Michael. Give him his 8th win of the season. Number 87, Justin Michael, holds off Bobby Terrell in the late closing laps here at Texas.
And what a phenomenal finish for a phenomenal race here tonight, Coop, at the Texas Motor Speedway, the great American Speedway, and it definitely has proven and lived up to that name here tonight. Justin Michael, what a drive by that driver. Started 3rd, fell back on the starts, and just played strategy right into his hands. The 87 machine coming down to the front straightaway to burn it down. Bobby Terrell. And what about Greg Mall there, Coop? One of our chase drivers, has a phenomenal race. Definitely going to get a ton of points out of that 3rd place finish. Exactly what that driver needed here tonight.
I knew it was going to be close, and you said it too. That's hard to pass at this place, and I thought that Bobby Terrell had 2 opportunities to do it, going out of turns number 2 and going into turns number 3, and just did not have that many laps. We'll be able to talk to him Michael and Maul after the race, or after the number 87 is done celebrating on the raceway, and after we're done with a little bit of a break of our own. But man, that was close, and I think if Terrell had one more lap maybe, and you always say as a driver, one more lap, just give me one more lap, Chris, he may have had it. But it was 167, not 168.
Yeah, Coop, and it's always just that one lap that'll eat you. Something you could have done different in the laps leading up to this race that maybe could have proven a different turn of events. Maybe we could have been seeing that 94 if something would have gone just a little bit different for that machine. But he definitely cannot be disappointed by the drive he had tonight, and neither can any of these drivers that have finished in the top 10 and even on the lead lap.
Well, we'll take a quick moment to step aside, get a glass of water, a bathroom break, and be back to talk to your top three of Justin, Michael, Bobby Terrell, and Greg Maul here after a short commercial break here on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
Hi guys, I'm Scott Speed, driver of this amazing Volkswagen Beetle GRC car. I got good news for the iRacing fam. We got this coming in. I'm currently working on it myself personally to make sure that it is as accurate as possible. With the addition of dirt and now this mean car, it is going to be so fun. And it's going to be available free to all the iRacing members. Personally, I can't wait to get out there and race you guys on it.
Introducing a whole new form of racing to the best online racing simulation in the world. This is dirt racing on iRacing.com. Race online at some of America's most legendary dirt tracks, including Eldora and Williams Grove. iRacing is the premier online racing game featuring NASCAR, IndyCar, sports cars, and now World of Outlaws, the leading sanctioning body for dirt racing. iRacing is easy to use and features a centralized ranking system to make sure you have the best experience at any skill level. With a massive inventory of high-precision laser scan tracks and cars with an unmatched dedication to quality and detail, iRacing gives you the most authentic online racing experience available. Thanks to iRacing's dynamic track system, developed specifically for dirt racing, tracks change over the course of a race, just like your favorite dirt track on a Friday or Saturday night. From a slick racing groove all the way up to the cushion, iRacing's dirt tracks deliver non-stop racing action. Partnered with the World of Outlaws, iRacing is your source for the most authentic dirt racing experience available, featuring 4 brand new tracks and 11 new cars, including street stocks, legends cars, late models, NASCAR trucks, winged and non-winged sprint cars, with much more on the way. Join the dirt revolution on iRacing.com and start slinging mud today.
Welcome back to Texas Motor Speedway. We're about to go through your full field rundown provided by BNC Lawn and Landscaping and Joel Real Timing. Want to give just a quick shout out to Alan Klingerman, big supporter of LSRTV. Justin Michael, he wins the race, gets the big win. He gets 8 wins on the season, and there's still 2 more to go. Bobby Terrell, he will get the 2nd position on the night. So close, but so far away as well, as we like to say. Greg Mall gets the 3rd position. Tommy Ryan gets 4th. Scott Simley, he finishes in the 5th position. Robert Gillenwater moves up a couple positions in the points to get 6th position. Michael Atkins Jr. is in 7th. That's where he'll finish. Michael Waters will finish 8th. Those Michaels like to finish together quite a bit, actually. Ashton Crowder finishes 9th, and Dwayne Dunn will finish 10th.
Sitting just outside the top 10 and 11th, Aaron Bennett in that 3 machine. Jamie Walker comes home in 12th. Your last car on the lead lap, George Hendricks, comes home in 13th. 14th belongs to Matt Marr. Ralph Vandervorst is going to be 15th. 16th is Chris Cabot. Brian Cutt, 17th. 18th, Randy Tester. Michael Warren, 19th. And rounding out your top 20 in that 64 machine, Michael Priester.
Finishing 21st is Shane Hawther. Trevor Harmon will finish 22nd. James Nunn finishes 23rd. Michael Waite, 24th. Scott Formosa will finish in the 25th position. Kenneth Dale Osborne will finish 26th. Stephen Herring, 27th. Alan Lewis will finish in the 28th position. Jason Jacoby will finish 29th here tonight. We're going to talk to Justin Michael, winner of tonight's race. Justin Michael, welcome to the booth, and I'm sure you're stoked to win this one. It was really close there at the end, but you got it done for your 8th win on the season. How does it feel to win 8 times?
Oh, it's great, actually. It's definitely a good group of guys here and lots of competition, so to get 8 is definitely a feat.
Yeah, I'm sure you're extremely stoked to get that win, and it had a lot of strategy before that caution flag came out. Explain to us what exactly was going on with the strategy with you guys. You guys were pitting a lot earlier than a lot of other drivers were, almost to the point where it seemed like it was almost too early. Was there a plan of the fact that the limited fuel cell was there and you had to plan around that, or just the fact that the tires were that much better?
Well, I mean, that last caution came out really messed us up because we had a really good strategy, going after that. The caution before that, which was probably like 100 laps, I think, before that. But we were just that last I can't talk. Sorry, that last pit run, we were just gonna kind of split it down the middle, and that caution came out, kind of just screwed everything up, and I was honestly worried after that about my pit strategy. I didn't think it would. I always get, I always have bad luck when it comes to pit strategy at the last run for some reason. So we got lucky on that one, I think.
Yeah, don't worry about the talking thing. We've had a couple bobbles ourselves tonight on a couple of names, but getting into victory lane, it's been a while, and I know for someone who's won as much as you won a lot. You've won almost double. I think you've won double than anybody else in the season. I said, how does it feel to be in victory lane since Watkins Glen? There's been a couple people that haven't been in victory lane, but 8 times is a massive number. We're gonna have to look at some of the other seasons. I don't know if anyone's been that dominant in a season of wins. Yeah, the last few weeks it hasn't been that way, but at the same time, I saw you last week and I said, you're the one I'm gonna watch because you're back on to where you were earlier on in the season.
Yeah, we there after Watkins Glen, we had a computer problem, put us out for a week, and then just kind of we had some bad luck there at Dover, got taken out, and just a couple tracks in there we ran really bad, and then turned it around at a track that I really hate and finished second last week. So that was surprising. It was good motivation coming into this.
Well, you do finish first here once again for the 8th time. Any shout-outs you like to give? You know how the drill goes.
Yeah, just everybody out there watching your broadcast, watching my stream. Twitch.tv/SimTVNation. Todd Kirkwood at One Way Logistics for sponsoring us, and you can check him out also on American.
Well, we thank you for giving us a lot of your time as you celebrate another win on the season.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
All right, there you have it, 87 Justin Michael there, and we're going to give it down to Chris Murdoch. He's going to meet up with the 94 Bobby Terrell and 12 Greg Mall.
Yeah.
Fuel mileage
What
king.
a valiant effort by the 94 of Bobby Terrell, coming home in the second place position, almost able to capture win number 2 on the season. Bobby, how was it out there tonight?
That was a fun race. I mean, just the way, those long races like that, just trying to figure out how it's going to play out, who's pitting where, and, how it's all going to cycle out, and just to kind of see where it's going to go. I mean, that made it fun to me. I hated to see that caution at the end, but it is what it is, and we just made the best of it there. But it still, people had to, decide when they were pitting. Some pitted early, some pitted, I split the run in the middle, basically.
Yeah, and let's talk about strategy, especially after that last caution came out. Strategy was all over the place. People were pitting 2 or 3 laps after the run had started. There were people cutting the run in half. You say you're one of those people that cut the run in half. When did you realize that you had a shot to win this race and you might actually catch Justin Michael?
Yeah, it was I didn't know where it would play out or where it would cycle around. I just actually figured that a lot of guys took 2. And I was telling my teammate Scott, I said, well, if I was you, I'd take 4 just to be safe. I said, I might gamble. I said, I got nothing to lose. I'm not in the chase. I've missed a lot of races. I said, I'm just going to try to go for the win. And, I took two tires and fuel and just let it play out. And actually it was probably the best it'd been all night for 13 laps. But then right there at the end of the run, it just started getting really loose off, and I couldn't get any power down to, I was getting close to Justin, but I just couldn't get the power down.
Yeah, we were all talking up here in the booth just about how close it was there towards the end, and we said almost cue the Jaws music because you were coming up so fast. But it's always so hard to pass here, and you always got to make those last second decisions to either race the driver clean or just send it off in there. What was going through your mind coming up to turn 3 when you had the run and you could sit it in there, or you could just lay back and play your card safe?
I think everybody that races against me know that I'm going to be clean, and I know it's a win, but it's you just got to remember, in the long scheme of things. I know everybody's different, but I tried to get a run on him, and the right way, the way you're supposed to, trying to get under him somehow, and that's just all you can do. Race him clean.
Yeah, and you did just that, coming home in second position. Bobby, before we let you go, sponsor shout outs. Who makes it happen for you?
I'd like to thank Muscle Milk, USR, Aaron, and the admins for putting this on and putting up with us, and then you guys up in the booth for doing this. It's pretty cool.
Well, thank you for the kind words, Bobby. Congrats on the second place finish. We hope to see you back here next week at Phoenix.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
And there you have it, your second place finisher, Bobby Terrell. Now we're going to move on down here to the 12 machine. Probably one of the bigger, gains out of tonight. Greg Mall coming home in third. Definitely a great points day for you. How are you feeling after tonight?
If I could wrap it up in one word, Chris, I think it'd be exhausted, because I gave that race everything I had there. I didn't leave anything behind, because with last week and that race is gone and over with. But I just knew coming in I couldn't leave anything on the table. I had to take every opportunity that I had and let some laps, and just didn't quite have enough there to get the win. But I knew top 3 was definitely going to be the main objective, and anything less than that I think was going to be a failure in my book.
Yeah, and let's quickly talk about strategy here, Greg. This was a great strategy race, and Texas normally always produces about that. And you were all over the place from strategy, from all of that, and then it came to form at the end, and you're at the right place at the right time. What was the strategy like out there for you tonight?
Well, it's just, I think we had that early caution, and I think the main thing was wondering if we were able to get back into a regular pit sequence with fuel and whatnot. But we tried to get a little bit off sequence in the rest of the pack and try and do something a little bit different to just kind of run our own race and let them worry about their own. And that pit stop that I had before the caution came out there late, I don't know. I mean, it was going to be close depending on what my numbers were telling me and what was actually going to transpire if it actually did go all the way to the end. But like you said, I mean, we were there towards the front when the caution came out, and we were able to regain that track position. It was that caution. The caution definitely did save us. It definitely let us keep the track position that we had there at the time being, and we were able to kind of hold on to that till the checker flag.
And with you being in that round of 6, we always gotta look forward to what's next, and that is Phoenix. And how do you feel about Phoenix? Do you like Phoenix? Is it a good track for you, and are you excited to go there next week?
Phoenix is a good track. I think it's a flatter, short track, and I think I personally have a little bit of a bias towards those tracks. I think I definitely appreciate those style of racetracks, and we're looking forward to what we have to offer the rest of the field. And I think tonight definitely kind of helped out as far as trying to get towards that top 3 spot in the chase, so that we can head on down to Homestead for the title. But we can't stop here, so the hard work definitely will continue on until that checkered flag flies in Phoenix.
Yeah, it always has to. You can never let up. Greg, before we let you go, sponsors, shout-outs, who makes that 12 machine go?
Well, of course, all the teammates, the young guns. Knows that pit strategy and whatnot definitely gave, I think, everyone a run for their money tonight, and I think the teammates, they definitely they did what they could tonight, and I think Aaron fell a little bit back there on the last run, but he's still in a position to kind of chase for that title. So I gotta give him credit for that, and of course gotta thank all the friends and family back home that are watching and all their support. It's been a heck of a ride this season, and I'm very, very proud to be able to make it this far. And of course gotta thank you guys upstairs doing what you do as always. So.
Well, we're talking about you the entire night. You did exactly what you needed to do and got a nice top 3. Greg, we hope to be talking to you again sometime soon, and we will see you next week at Phoenix.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, guys.
And there you have it, Coop. That's Greg Mall finishing 3rd, exactly what he needed here tonight for a great bounce back from last week at Martinsville. But now we move on to another short track in Phoenix, which is honestly one of my favorite tracks here on the schedule, and I can't wait to go there next week.
Yeah, Phoenix is one of those races where it can come out and bite you, or it can really serve you really well here. And I want to mention that Greg Mall, we've been talking about it a lot. I think he was one of our favorites for the race. Had such bad luck last week and really turned it around. He's only 2 points out of the championship right here, behind Aaron Bennett, which really surprised me when you look at the results. Aaron Bennett finished 11th, and Greg Mall finished 3rd. I said that Aaron Bennett needed to really get up there. He only got a position or 2, and really, I mean, it's getting really close. I mean, these championship runs there's so few drivers, Chris, that there's little room for error. And Greg Mall is also tied with Michael Waters. And Waters had himself a decent day, finishing 8th. These 3 drivers, and I think you can put Whalen Water and Simley still in the same boat. Those 5 drivers are truly chasing this last round of a championship here. And you really got to think Shane Hawthorne's 27 points out of the lead and 16 out from being in. It's not impossible, but he's going to have someone else out. 3 other people have misfortune at Phoenix, which is very unlikely. I'm sure we'll see him next week and run as hard as he can, probably run a lot like Greg Mall did today. But the difference between Greg Mall and Shane Hawthorne is that Mall had his bad race last week. Hawthorne has it this week, and it's really been quite the bummer, I think, for the 11 crew that it happened, and he's got to really try and dig himself out of a hole. And really at a bad time in the championship hunt to do so.
Yeah, it really is. But as Greg Maul mentioned, you can't let up. You got to keep going till that checkered flag at Phoenix, and then it's a whole nother game at Homestead. You have a whole nother mindset, and it's going to shape up to be an amazing final 2 races of the season. You're not going to want to miss any of it here on LSRTV.
Yeah, we are talking about those 6 drivers: Simley, Gillenwater, Bennett, Maul, Waters, and Hawther. Those are your 6 drivers still in the championship hunt. And Simley, he is up by 4 spots or 4 points over Gillenwater. It's not a lot. I think the biggest surprise up here is Gillenwater sneakily made himself into the top 3 here, and it's going to be quite the running to the end of this one. Phoenix next week, Homestead the one after that for the final round here, and Phoenix is going to be the penultimate race. Like Chris said, you're not going to win. You're not going to want to miss any of it tonight. We want to thank our sponsors here tonight: BNC Lawn and Landscaping for sponsoring the series, Dual Real Timing for the coverage of the United Sim Racing BNC Lawn and Landscaping series. And if you want more information on the United Sim Racing series, you can contact them at unitedsimracing.com or find them on Facebook, as well as finding us on Facebook at Live Sim Racing or LSRTV. You can find us on livesimracing.com, on Facebook and Twitter as well. So from myself, Austin Coops, Murdoch, Cisco Scarmouza, and from the team back at home, Evan Pasoko, Laura Lawson, Andy Kessler, we say goodnight, and we will see all of you at the next track.